So today we had a rally for Nina Turner. We covered it on the Young Turks. It was obviously in Cleveland, and it's in the 11th district of Ohio, where she's running for the congressional seat. Bernie Sanders introduced her, but we had great speakers, local speakers that did a wonderful job. I want to tell you a little bit about them in a second. Bernie Sanders was terrific, and then Keith Ellison spoke. He's a former United States Congressman, current Attorney General of Minnesota, and he said, "Look, elections matter. If I hadn't won, would we have been as aggressive in prosecuting Derek Chauvin for the murder of George Floyd? We don't know." But since Keith Ellison, a very strong progressive, was the Attorney General of Minnesota, they very aggressively prosecuted and convicted Derek Chauvin. Voting matters. And Cornel West lit the place on fire with a great, amazing speech. And as I explained, look, I don't agree with everybody who speaks on every issue. Of course not, nobody does, right? But when Cornel West, in my opinion, goes too far, he goes too far because he cares and he's passionate and he's trying to do the right thing. And intent matters, okay? And when Bernie Sanders doesn't go far enough, when he's not as aggressive in calling out his colleagues, we do critique. But when he does the right things, like shows up for an ally and a sister in Nina Turner when she needs it most, we give credit where credit is due. When Cori Bush can't show up because she was busy sleeping outside in the streets in front of Capitol Hill to protest the evictions of real Americans, her voters and other voters who are going to be evicted because the moratorium is going to be lifted, you give her credit where credit is due for fighting with everything she's got, okay? So it is important to be honest about all these issues. And if you're being honest about the 11th district in Ohio, one of the candidates was picked out of a bag. They were all no names running against Nina Turner. There's about 13 of them. And in the beginning, no one had any idea who the establishment was gonna back because they all had very little experience. And the establishment decided they were gonna back this candidate, Brown. And they did not disperse their money based on, hey, who agrees with us more ideologically? And so some candidates will get this, other candidates will get that. No, they made a decision, a unified decision in this among establishment Democrats. They were going to oppose Nina Turner, and they had to pick one candidate to oppose her. And they decided, who cares who it is? Whoever is going to tell us that they will do everything we say, we'll pick them. And Brown raised her hand and said, yes, I will do whatever you want from me. If you're in Democratic leadership, if you're establishment Democrat, if you're a corporate lobbyist and you're going to give to my campaign, I will do anything for you. And by the way, that is quite literal, because Democratic Majority for Israel has spent a giant amount of money. That is a right-wing group that has infiltrated the Democratic Party. Democratic Party, for a lot of the leadership, they are thrilled to be infiltrated. They are thrilled to take that money and do whatever those lobbyists want. And now Nina Turner is not going to do that, so those lobbyists are not thrilled. Establishment Democrats are not thrilled about Nina Turner. And so they said, you will support Israel, no matter if their government is left wing, centrist, or right wing, and you will never question them. And Brown has publicly said, yes, sir, absolutely, sir. She has said that she will never condition aid to Israel based on any policy or any condition on the ground or any situation in the region. She will give to Israel billions of dollars of your money, no matter what. By the way, giving to Israel is a perfectly defensible position. And I'm glad that we gave them Iron Dome and kept Israeli citizens safe and alive. And I'm thrilled about that. I wish that it would be equivalent for both sides. And I know in America, the idea of protecting Palestinian lives is unthinkable. So when I say, why don't we give Iron Dome to the Palestinians? Not just Republicans, but Democrats say, how dare you trying to protect the lives of Muslims? It's unbearable and unthinkable in America. Well, you're wrong, it is thinkable. And so Nina Turner has not said anything about Iron Dome, but she cares about Palestinians. She thinks that they're human beings. And so Democratic Majority for Israel says she must be eliminated. So mainstream media, you can go ahead and cry and you can say, oh no, you're not allowed to criticize our lobbyist friends. I don't give a damn that you're friends with them. I will criticize them. What they've done in this race is absolutely positively corrupt. And they're not the only ones. And don't focus on the background. That's got nothing to do with it. The most important color is the color of money. It's green, okay? ExxonMobil has entered this race. Comcast has entered this race. Drug companies have entered this race. Wall Street has entered this race. Guess where they've entered it? Every single one of them against Nina Turner. Brown has raised her hand and said, I will serve all of you. Give me the money and I will do whatever you say. Nina Turner says, I will not do whatever you say. I will do what the voters say. That is why the lobbyists and the corporations and the corrupt in Washington are united against Nina Turner. That is why progressives should support Nina Turner. And I'll say it again, do not listen to the nihilists. They're pretending to be on the left, fighting against progressive warriors like Nina Turner, telling you not to vote, not to get involved, to be skeptical and cynical of every progressive who's trying to help you. Don't listen to those demagogues. Nina Turner is gonna fight for you, and our chance of passing bills that affect your life to increase your wages and to get you health care is greatly increased if Nina Turner goes to Congress. If Brown goes to Congress, nothing's gonna change. You're gonna have the status quo and everybody's gonna cheerlead, and everybody in the media is going to write a story about how wonderful it was that the progressives were defeated and there's no hope in this country. And we will have corporate rule forever, and the corporate media will cheer that. I had David Weigel from the Washington Post on the show just a couple of days ago. And we aired it just yesterday. And Weigel's an honest journalist, and he said yes, the culture in Washington among journalists is that the status quo is what is realistic and good and positive, and disruptors are looked upon with great skepticism because the corporate media, some of them know it, a lot of them don't even know it. They're useful, and you know how that phrase ends, because they repeat what the people in power want. They protect the powerful. That is why they are united against Nina Turner, because she protects you. She protects the powerless. Now, if you listen to the nihilists on the left who say, do not have hope, do not help someone who's trying to help you, you have been led astray by demagogues who are looking to profit off of hopelessness. I say yes to hope. I say yes to Nina Turner. I say yes to Justice Democrats that are gonna fight for you. And by the way, if they don't, on certain issues, do not shut off your mind and say, I'm never going to listen to anything that anyone says. You critique them when it is right and you give credit where credit is due. So we critiqued on $15 minimum wage. We pushed Bernie Sanders to introduce that amendment. And yes, we found out who the corrupt corporate 8 are in Congress, in Senate, who voted against $15 minimum wage while they pretend to be in favor of higher wages. Those are Democrats, not just Republicans. So you, if you're in the Young Turks audience fighting on that issue, made a difference. We now know who the bad guys are, and we will continue to put pressure on those bad guys. And yes, sometimes you have to put pressure on the good guys, like we did against Bernie Sanders on that issue. And now some are complaining that Bernie Sanders won't go on their show, et cetera. So what? So what? You're not supposed to do your show based on access and who's nice to the host. Who cares who's nice to the host? The question is who's nice to you and the voters. And the way they show that they are nice to the voters is by actually passing bills that affect your lives. In Ohio, in the 11th district right now, the minimum wage is $7.25. That is abhorrent. That is $15,080 if you work full time every single day, Monday through Friday, 40 hours a week with no vacations for the entire year, $15,000. And people like corporate Democrats like Brown says, that's fantastic. I'm never gonna fight for minimum wage. If Joe Biden tells me to bow my head, I will bow my head. And right now, Joe Biden does tell them to bow their heads. Joe Biden sent the 2 Delaware senators to go vote against minimum wage. If the Young Turks audience had not fought for that, you would not have known that the Delaware senators sold you out. You would not have known that Joe Biden authorized that. Those Delaware senators are never gonna vote unless Joe Biden gives them permission to. Joe Biden told them, apparently, to vote against $15 minimum wage. We found that out because you put pressure on in the right times and in the right ways. Now, when Cori Bush turns around and fights for you so that you don't get evicted from your house as she sleeps outside the Capitol, then you give her credit. When AOC and Jamal Bowman and Mondaire Jones and Rashida Tlaib go out there and say, you know what, we are not going to vote for your so-called bipartisan infrastructure package, if you do not vote for the actual infrastructure package that's $3.5 trillion and has portions of the Green New Deal and climate change inside of it, well, then you give them credit for doing the right thing. And not only is Nina Turner going to join the forces that are voting in the right way and speaking in the right ways, that incredibly powerful speaker is going to have the most powerful mic in the country, and that is on the floor of the United States House of Representatives. But on top of that, on top of all of that, she's going to lead. Now, if I'm wrong about that, I'll be the first one to come out and admit it to you guys. And I will tell you, hey, listen, we hoped again and it didn't work out. And now we're gonna go for someone else, and we're gonna go for someone else after that, and we're gonna go for someone else after that until we find our fighter, until we find our leader. Now, I believe that is Nina Turner. I believe with all my heart, but also all my brain, based on experience, based on what she's done in the past, based on what she's done today. And that's why I think Nina Turner will make all the difference, okay? But if I'm wrong, we're gonna do it again, and we're gonna do it again, and we're gonna do it again until we have our fighter and we have our leader. So again, all of my experience leads me to believe that actually is Nina Turner. So when we fight, we win. It is not to vent. The mainstream media are fools. They're absolute, utter fools, and they're picked to be fools. They don't want you to fight. They want you to be quote unquote civil. Why? If you're civil, you're never gonna get any change. The status quo and the powerful are going to be incredibly comfortable, incredibly comfortable. That's why the corporate media tells you, don't fight, be civil. Now, by the way, again, there's people on the right, the left that say that fight in insane ways. Go fight physically, the right wing says. Now, there's a new poll out, 47% of Republicans saying that they might have to take the law into their own hands. That's vigilante justice, that's calls for violence. 28% of Republicans say they should do flat out violence. Actual violence. That is not the right way to fight. January 6th is not the right way to fight. For the nihilists on the left, the alt left, and all those insane people who say, pick a random vote on a thing you know you can't win. You don't even have a plan to win. And then if they don't do the thing that you want, which makes no sense at all and has no strategy and no thought and no planning, and then go and viciously attack the progressives that are on your side because they didn't listen to your dumbass idea, and say, they didn't come on my show. They didn't listen to my idea. This is all about me and my ego. So don't vote for them. Don't send them money. Don't help them. That person isn't for you. That person is a demagogue who's trying to destroy the progressive movement in this country. The people that are trying to build it up are people like Nina Turner. You got to go help them in every way that you can. If you can vote in the 11th district, by God, you gotta do it. You gotta convince family and friends to do it, because hope matters and hope is real. If you're out there anywhere in the country, you can phone bank for her, ninaturner.com. And obviously so many of you have already given at ninaturner.com/hello. This race is everything. Without a leader, it is so hard to win. But if we have a leader, it can make all the difference. Look, I'm gonna give you one more example here. I give Cori Bush credit for doing something amazing, sleeping out to show what eviction looks like, what homelessness looks like, and how we gotta fight it. But if I'm being honest with you, there is a slightly more effective way to have done that. And that is, and less painful, by the way, right? So Cori's going through a lot of pain, and you should give her credit for standing up for you and sharing that pain with you, okay? But the slightly more effective way would have been to say, the Democratic leadership isn't fighting for you. They're gonna let the eviction moratorium. Okay, and so why am I for Nina Turner? Because I think there's a chance that she's gonna go there and say, it's also Joe Biden. It's also Democratic leadership. Joe Biden didn't deliver for you on $15 minimum wage. He didn't deliver for you on student debt relief. He didn't deliver on taking marijuana off of Schedule 1. And I can go on and on. There's literally dozens of policies that Joe Biden said he was gonna do on the campaign trail. And then once he got in office said, as usual with Democratic establishment, no, I was just kidding. I'm not going to do it. And what did the media do? Uproarious applause. Oh, bravo, bravo, FDR 2.0. Way to do false promises, and we'll pretend that you are in favor of those false promises. And we will not tell people when you actually fight against those same promises. We can see with our own eyes. We saw the Delaware senators vote against minimum wage. Not one national media reporter pointed that out. So you've got the mainstream media who sells out for access and tells you that the powerful are great when they are not, when they actively lie about it. And then you've got the nihilist saying, no, they didn't come on my show, so I'm going to lie to you and tell you that they do everything wrong and you should attack them because they hurt my ego. Insanity, insanity. Guys, look, when I had my trouble with the group I started, Justice Democrat, did I betray them because they said something again, and something, by the way, awful about me? No. I said, eyes on the prize. Go vote for them anyway. Go support them anyway. It wasn't the candidates, by the way, it was the staff at the time. Okay, and by the way, I then said the staff did a great job in finding the candidates and supporting the candidates. Why did I compliment the people who attacked me? Because on other issues, they were right. And if without them, we had no chance of ever winning and passing those bills. And now there are 10 Justice Democrats in Congress, and hopefully with Nina, an 11th on the way. Without them, we had no hope. With them, we have hope. Eyes on the prize. It isn't about me. It isn't about other hosts. It isn't about other politicians. It isn't about other people in the media. It's about you, NinaTurner.com. So the one thing I want to emphasize about this, I mean, I've emphasized a lot already, but Nina says something great in her speech. She says, this isn't about separating us, it's about uniting us. It's about class and caste, she said. It's absolutely right. So whether you're black, white, Latino, or anything else, they're trying to divide us. They're trying to divide us. We've got to unite on economic issues where we agree. It is, if you're looking for what caused your troubles and who rigged the system against you, do not look down, look up. That is what Nina Turner is saying. That is what Bernie Sanders is saying. That is what the Justice Democrats are saying, and they are right. And Nina emphasized throughout, we want an America that is as good as its promise. So is America great now? No. Is every legislator in Congress great now? No. But can we get them to be as great as their promise? Well, that's our job. We're supposed to push them in the right way, in the strategic way to get there. And we have, and on a lot of issues they have. And overall though, we've got a lot of work to do, especially with the Democratic Party, to have them live up to their promise and to be as good as their promise, and long way to go on that. If you notice, by the way, I keep it real for you guys, Nina and the other speakers, with the exception of Cornel West, they were 4, 5, 10 times more fiery than the average speaker, but they were about 20% less fiery than they normally are. I say the exception of Cornel West because he was nothing but fire, okay? But why were they less fiery? Because if they say anything slightly wrong, all the mainstream media will do is focus on, oh my God, they're not a good enough Democrat. Remember everybody, they're not going to be beholden to Democratic leadership. And they will paint that in their articles as if Nina Turner is right wing or Bernie Sanders is right wing, which is insanity, insanity. They are the definition of the left wing and they're the definition of the progressive movement, but the media lies to you on a regular basis. And to that point, the one thing that everybody emphasized throughout these speeches was love. We do this out of love, and that is love for the voters, love for the issues, love for things that are gonna make your lives better. If you got more wages, if you got childcare, you can actually give more to your family. You can take care of your family, that's love. You got healthcare, you're gonna live, that's love, and it goes on and on. Is anybody in the media gonna focus on the theme of today's rally, which was love? I would be shocked. They almost never do. But I will give credit where credit is due on that. Cleveland Plain Dealer endorsed Nina Turner, and that makes a giant difference. So give credit to the local paper for doing the right thing, which is nearly unprecedented. But by the way, also credit to state representatives, state senators, council people, and the mayor of Cleveland, who all endorsed Nina Turner. Those are local representatives saying, for our community, Nina Turner is right. I don't care what the Democratic majority for Israel says, or ExxonMobil says, or Hillary Clinton says. No, Nina Turner is right for Cleveland and Akron in the 11th district, and they are absolutely right about that. So it was my pleasure covering this rally. I literally cannot think of any congressional race in my lifetime that is more important than this one. and the voting has already begun and will go through August 3rd. Obviously, on the night of August 3rd, the Young Turks will cover the election and tell you who won and who didn't. And Nina Turner will be on the show and to talk about it. Okay, so help or participate in any way that you're comfortable with, but do whatever you can to give us a little bit of hope that love can win, that justice can win, that progressives can win and can bring you that justice. I don't know anyone I've had more hope for than Nina Turner. So that is the reality, and our job is to report the reality, and that's what I'm reporting to you now.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.